Dude, what happened? Sam! Hey! What am I supposed to do? Fight the fairies! You fight those fairies! Fight the fairies!
Irish culture and history is deeply intertwined with the beings in their mythology. The most popularized version is the fairies, aka the fae, the fairfolk, or the sidhe. Now, before we begin, I need you to think less Tinkerbell when you hear the word fairy, and more Galadriel being tempted by the...
In place of a dark lord, you would have a queen! Not dark, but beautiful and terrible as the dawn! Treacherous as the sea! Stronger than the foundations of the earth! All shall love me and bow!
The word fairy comes from an old French word, fairy, meaning enchanted one. Fairies are deeply knitted into Irish mythology that even to this day, a hawthorn tree will never ever be cut down out of fear of the fairies. The fairies were said to live in the hawthorn trees, and if you cut them down, bad things were bound to happen. Gretchen, did you cut down the hawthorn tree?
Yeah?
Look what you did!
Oh, shite.
Fairies were said to lay curses for the silliest of insults. This is why they were so feared. And since they came in all different shapes and sizes and colors, you never truly knew who you were insulting.
So ugly.
Curse on you! Curse on your family! Curse on your cow! No! Like I said, fairies come in all different forms. They can range from a tiny black cat, such as the catchy, which would lay a curse on you if you didn't leave out a saucer of milk. Gretchen, did you leave the saucer of milk out for the catchy?
I thought you did.
Curse on you! All the way up to a kelpie, which is a water horse. Now, every time a person touched a kelpie, they would get stuck to it, and the kelpie would drag them down to the bottom of the water and eat their liver. But probably the most terrifying of all fair kind were the changelings. Like all mythologies, fairies were used to explain what couldn't be understood. So, if your family member or loved one had a sudden change or mood of behavior, or if a child was failing to thrive, or had a certain disability, they would blame it on the fairies. Gretchen, can you do the dishes?
Here's an idea. Why don't you run up a dark alley and yell, "Fish!"
Changeling! My child is a changeling! When your family members started to act like this, a fairy was said to have taken them back to the fairy land, leaving behind a double or a changeling in their place. The changeling looked exactly like the family member, except they were just a little bit off and didn't act like themselves. So, to get rid of the changeling, the family would go through a series of methods that were not always nice.
Gretchen, how do we get the baby back from the changelings?
Did you try the iron?
It's not working!
What about the herbs with the urn?
Not working!
Did you call the priest?
Came yesterday!
Then fire it is.
Gretchen, how do you like your fairies?
Well done and up the chimney.
These methods may seem funny, like drinking the urine or having iron put on them, but people died. Like, hundreds of people died because they wanted to get rid of these fairies. It was ridiculous how big of a fear they had. This fear was still around even when Christianity came into Ireland. The people in Ireland today still respect the fairies. That's why the hawthorn trees are still left. Effects of mythology on a culture are undeniable even to this day, but the real question is the power from the creatures or from the belief?